immigration, Patrick. There's some, as if 430,000 wasn't enough. We're now pushing the envelope over 500,000 immigrants. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, there's a whole range of conversations you can have around immigration. Not the least of which is we need immigrants. We're not having enough babies. We've had that conversation many, many times. The bigger conversation is just a kind of a spin-off what we just talked about. Where are we going to put everybody becomes one of the conversations that are being talked about. Is that people are suggesting that, of course, that's going to drive rental prices up, and that's going to drive real estate prices up, and quite likely it will on the rental side of things, not so much on the buy side of things. But what immigration will do is kind of be the foundation. Right now with rising interest rates, a kind of expected downturn in the economy. We can talk about that in a moment. Really the underlying foundation of what is going to support Canada's housing market, which is really our economy, by the way. Make no mistake about that. Housing drives our economy. And that's part of, I think, the concerns that so many have. But immigration underneath all that really is going to be that kind of break, if you will, to just how far real estate prices may come off their historical. And we can't look at the 2022 is an anomaly. It's a glitch in pricing. And so as much as we're seeing and hearing about lack of sales and pullback of prices and all the rest of it, the point here is that immigration is really going to be a smart move for Canada in terms of our economic kind of success, because we need the people, we need the workers, and definitely it supports our housing market.
1,000% agree with all of that, Patrick. Definitely needed, and that's good. The numbers are high, the numbers are climbing, and these things have a ripple effect. You're gonna, right? We always talk about that, Patrick, ripple effects. I think the immigration policies we're making today are going to have a real profound effect in 5 years, 10 years down the line. And that's going to affect a lot of parts of the economy. But remember this moment, because this uptick from 430 to 500, which is still a pretty significant uptick, Patrick. We're talking about a 25% increase here, which is pretty significant. It's going to have a ripple effect in 5 years. But I think we need it. I think everybody understands we need it, but I think there's going to be a lot of NIMBYism around that too, because that seems to be the thing to do these days, is to hide behind social media and have all these opinions and so on and so forth. How about we just freaking get out there and make shit happen, Patrick? Let's not talk about it.
Well, I mean, you're talking about 1.5 million over a 3-year period, which is a lot of people coming into a small country like Canada. And I think that there's some talk. I don't know that people are so aware of it, is that, immigrants coming in, and this is not a criticism. I don't even disagree. It's not that I even disagree with it. It's just that there is a cost to it. They're investing, people are coming in, and immigrants are coming in. They're getting all sorts of allowances and subsidies. And some of them seem pretty extensive. Like, a family, I think it was 4 or 5, and don't quote me on any of this, and I should have checked it. But I want to say it's a number that I've recently saw was, I want to say it was 48 grand in 2018 and 54,000 in 2022. So there's a cost to having that immigration that the federal government is investing in. I don't want to be critical of it at this point, because I really don't know. I think I know we need immigration, and there's going to be a cost to that.
Yeah, for sure. There's a flip side to that too. I don't know if you know this, Patrick. I was blown away by this. In fact, my initial reaction was a little disgusted by it, but that's a little bit of a harsh reaction. So, and I don't know, I know the numbers are accurate and true, but I don't know the kind of the background of it. But did you know that an immigrant student, to go to university, instead of paying the typical $4 or $5 grand a year in tuition, it's $45,000 a year? That's 10 times more than Canadians, which is why, by the way, the students all come in and they rush like crazy to get the residency, because their tuition drops from 45 grand to 4 or 5 grand based on whatever the tuition is for a Canadian resident. That's a good deal.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I just literally had a call with a RAIN member yesterday who is in fact an international student, and we had that very conversation of the cost of coming to Canada, and if it wasn't for his dad, he wouldn't have had the money to do it. And so they're making it happen. But it also, I want to shine a light on something that, as Canadians, man, we bitch and moan about a lot of things, and I could be guilty of that as well. But
you are guilty of it. That's
settle down, settle down. The reason we have that immigration is because outside of Canada, it's not a pretty sight in a lot of these countries where we're bringing the immigration and the immigrants from. So that's all to say this is sometimes when you have to have these conversations with people to have an appreciation for what we do have, and it's easy to be critical. We normalize a lot of things. That's all I got to say about that.
Hey, we have like in the last several years, we've had the most incredible growth of international students coming in. If they're all paying those kinds of prices, I'm like, where the hell is all this money going? I mean, I'd much rather see this money go into our economy versus go into just the educational system, because after that, I lose track of it. But if it goes into the economy, I know how it benefits everybody. I just find that interesting. Maybe we'll have to dig into that rein it in.
We'll dig into it. But, and here we go, back to some of the, the whole point of immigration. And as real estate investors, we get caught in these headlines that we keep telling people these are focused on home buyers. We're investors. Immigration into the country is really that's our clients. Most of them are our clients as rental housing providers, whether they be international students or actual workers who are coming in, getting jobs. They need a place to live. We know that for the first 2 to 3 years, immigrants will rent. There is a gap, which then supports our business model and the whole philosophy about being a real estate investor. And so, ultimately, we can go back and get grounded in that. And that's really part of the immigration conversation.
Not only are they your current tenants, like today and this week and this month and this year, but they're your future purchasers. That's who you're going to sell. Don't forget, folks, we're going to end up selling these properties one day. You're going to have to exit your portfolio. You need a buyer there to buy your stuff, to buy your portfolio. These immigrants are those buyers.
100%. That's part of the cycle.